All right, everybody, we are live. We're about 4 minutes late, but me and Jamie were catching up. So, look, on this episode, we've got the first agent to ever join EXP in all of Eastern North Carolina. So, we're going to find out kind of her trip there and why she chose EXP and how everything's going. So, stay tuned. Here we go. All right, we're back. All right, so today we have Miss Jammie Garlock. Look, me and Jamie go way back, like 1986. Probably not that long. It's been a while.
It feels like it. It feels like it.
We were selling like 5,000 homes a year. I was brand new. Like, what in the hell is going on here? But so welcome. Thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with me and everybody else. So thank you.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here. And, David, you've always been impressive. And everybody that's in the Eastern North Carolina know that. And so it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it's great. And I can't wait to talk about like your journey, because obviously you saw something that the rest of us dummies, I say that about myself, really, did not see. And really, I look at it. My God, if I would have done this when you did or when you talked to me, I mean, I could be almost retired. I'm not retired, but I'd be a lot better off. I'll tell you that. So, but I didn't listen. But anyway, so yeah, me and Jamie, look, well, we met at Sawyer, right? And you were like, man, you were like selling 80, 90, 100 homes a year.
Yep. I was selling right at 100 homes a year as an independent agent. I didn't have a team.
Yeah, I remember that. You had some builders, and I remember you were one of the first to ever say, hey, come on with me. You I don't know if you remember that, but I do. I remember you say, come on with me. I'm going to do a walk through this new construction. We drove out, I think it was Swansboro. It was like Channel Marker Loop.
Swansboro Acres. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was my first neighborhood.
Yeah. You took me through that. You said, this is what you're looking for, this new construction, and boom, boom, boom. You were one of the first to do that. So I always remember that. I tell that story often, and I always appreciate that. So I was brand new, and you were one of the first to try to help me out. You even talked about leads with me, and I mean, I think you gave me a few leads too. You're like, here's some leads, call them, see if you can get them going or whatever. So I remember that. So that was, thank you for that. And that was a while ago though.
Yeah, it was.
But I remember that.
And I was still a new agent at that time.
I would never even known that.
Yeah, I got my license in 2011, and so I think that was about 2013 or 14. But my goal has always been to, give back to agents and to help agents on their journey, because I know how it is to be brand new and just be lost as hell when it came to, okay, I have my license now, what do I do? And so I always, have had that motivation to help others.
Yep, absolutely. Like I said, from the beginning, you were one of the first. I remember you, Ray Evans was another one. And I mean, I just think about that office now. Wow. I mean, you talk about like all-stars of at least Jackson, the Onslow County area. We do a whole show there. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, we had everybody there. I mean, so
we did. And I think about that too. Like there were so many of us that now we're out on our own and running our own businesses in real estate from, the office that we were associated with. So it's really gratifying to see that, that I had a little bit of an impact on all those different agents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, we met, it was 2014, and you and I both have taken kind of all kinds of crazy paths.
Yeah.
Different paths, right, in real estate. And then now we're both at EXP, which is awesome. And so tell everybody, so now what? You're in Virginia, right? Is that where you're at?
Right. So I'm a multi-state agent, meaning I have my license in multiple states. And so, I was in property management for about 15 years before I got my real estate license in North Carolina. But I'm a Marine spouse. And so that brought me to North Carolina and I needed a job. And so I had a lot of people tell me to get my real estate license. And that I got my license at the end of 2011. Mm-hmm. And then I really started full time in 2012. And so, we loved that area. And so, my husband, being a Marine, got orders. So now we live in Arlington, Virginia. And, the Nova area or Northern Virginia is Virginia, DC, Maryland. And then, of course, I still hold my broker license in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Still do production here, do well. Yeah. So, you came in what? When did you get your license? 2011?
Yeah. The end of 2011. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So, we're at Sawyer, and then, so tell us about your journey kind of to where you're at now. You left Sawyer, and where'd you go? I can't remember where you went.
Yeah, so I was a huge Century 21 girl. I loved it, and I had a lot of success early on. And I really give gratitude for that to some of the people I used to work with. I worked with Johnny Kinder, the best agent that I am aligned with, and so he's. The whole family's in the right? And so just being able to, call my old boss and say, hey, I'm getting my license. I don't know what I'm doing. Help. I really attribute my early success on the things that I learned at Coldwell Banker there, because we were a Coldwell Banker. But I worked in property management. And so coming to North Carolina, I didn't want to work for $10 an hour. I refused to do that because, I had already excelled in my property management career for a long time. And so he was like, hey, I think you should get your license. Really? Okay, Johnny, I'm going to do that. Right. And so he was my biggest cheerleader. He always has. We stay in contact even now. And, I've been on the East Coast since 2011. So, yeah, North Carolina was great to me. And, I started at Century 21 because, when I was in class, that was where everybody was going. We all went together. Like we just, all just got on that bandwagon. So we all went to Century 21, and then I did very well, very quickly. And I had said that I wanted to start a team. And I think my broker thought I wanted to open my own brokerage, which wasn't true. But hindsight's 2020. I said, "Oh, I want to do my own thing. Like, I want to start a team." And so I left Century 21, and I wasn't ready to go on my own. And so I went to Coldwell Banker because that was what I knew from Lawton, Oklahoma. And so I then became quickly the top agent at Coldwell Banker Seacoast in Jacksonville. And then I started a team. Because, I just thought like that was the next thing to do after being an independent agent. Once I started a team, I rented my own office, and having the expense of an office while you're at a franchise, I loved it. I loved the office, but I didn't love that I was footing the bill for all that. Right. And so, and at that time it's been a while. We were limited on space in the office. And so I rented my own space for my agents on my team. And I just thought, you know what? I loved Coldwell Banker Seacoast. But I wanted to step out on my own. So that's what I did. I opened my own brokerage. I did that for a few years. And then, people started approaching me about EXP. And I thought, no way. Right. No way. I was one of those who did not see it at first. It took me a while. Yeah. And then I came to EXP in 2018 in February, and my live date's March 1st. So I'm coming up on 4 years. So it's been great. Yeah. No, and it's so funny because our careers almost mirrored each other. I had one more stop than you did, but I had a stop at Berkshire Hathaway here, which did really well for me. Actually, I learned a lot. That's how I feel about Coldwell Banker. Yeah. Seacoast, like I learned a lot there. They really taught me the things that I needed to do my own thing. And in joining, Coldwell Banker, I talked to the owner. I talked to Tim Milam, and I said, look, this is not my forever real estate home, but I want to get here. I want to learn some stuff. I want to kick ass, and I want to make you and me money while I'm here. And so it was never my intention to stay there, because I knew I wanted to, do my own thing eventually, because that's just, as an entrepreneur, that's always in your head.
Sure. Yeah.
So, So, but it took me a while to see like EXP, like to see like the value in EXP. But once I did, man, I was like, let's go. It was like a freight train. Like, let's go.
I agree.
I
agree with you. It's similar. Yeah. I mean, I think I remember getting a text. It was early on in 2017 about EXP. And I was like, EXP? I never even heard of this thing. Like, what is this? Like,
I was my response, like, EX who?
I thought it was Exit.
I thought it was Expo.
Oh, see? Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm reading, I'm like, Exit? No, I don't want to join Exit. They're very small. Like, nobody's there, And we had just joined Coldwell Banker then. So, yeah, it's weird that we ended up Coldwell Banker, and I learned a lot at Coldwell Banker. Great people there. Same thing. Awesome. The management taught me so much there. So it's just weird. We kind of went basically the same path, and then at EXP.
Absolutely.
So I think, so it's just weird. And then, as you and I have now discussed things, and now we're in that EXP world, you know a lot of the EXP people, that I think like for me, I knew, what's his name? I never pronounced his name right. Is it Chaston? Chaston Miles. Like, I knew of him because I watch YouTube. That's all I watch now is YouTube.
Oh, he's YouTube famous, and one of my favorite people.
Absolutely. So when I saw him, like, hey man, and he's probably like, who's this guy like stalking me on YouTube? But I was like, I watched even before I was at EXP. I was watching his videos and stuff. So but you're really, you're like best of friends, and then the Kitchens. Them too. I mean, that's crazy. Jay Kinder, who is my sponsor.
I go way back with a lot of people. Just before I even got my license, I knew several people from my property management in Oklahoma. So, or my property management experience. When you're in a small town, everybody knows everybody, and there wasn't a whole lot of places to choose from. And so we worked at the best company at the time in Lawton, Oklahoma. Yeah,
that's so weird. I'll just come full circle, right, for you, that everybody's in the EXP organization now. And then, even for me and you talking about it a while ago. All right, so let's talk about, so you moved to EXP 4 years ago, just give or take, right?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, so, and it has changed. I mean, I've only been in 2 years. Holy, in 4 years, I mean,
I remember early on, like, being the first in our area, it was a lot of work, and there was not a whole lot of guidance, because nobody in Eastern North Carolina at that time was doing anything. And so when I stood up in Jacksonville, it was like, okay, I'm opening up a new area. I already had my own brokerage and office. I had 22 agents at the time. And so it was a lot of work. And to be honest, it was a headache. And I often, second guessed myself. Like, did I make the right decision? What the hell did I just do? When I started losing a few agents, that's when I really got nervous, but I just kept telling myself, like, this is going to be the best thing I ever do for my real estate business. This is going to be the best thing I ever do for my real estate business. This is it. And I believed that wholeheartedly. And so as agents left, I wished them well. And, not everybody sees EXP immediately. And what I mean by that is you don't see the value in that immediately. And I think agents get in this mindset of, I need a big office with millions of agents in the area I live in. So it hurt, but it was the best decision that I ever made.
Yeah. So let's talk through that a little bit about that
Mhm.
journey, right? So you're the first EXP agent in our area.
Yeah.
And now from the standpoint, of course, everybody here in this market in the Jacksonville, right, area, Onslow County, they're used to that brick and mortar
Yeah.
and really the traditional brokerage. And Coldwell Banker here is great firm, great, and really they dominate in a sense of size, right? They have
Yeah.
like 20, I think probably 26, 27 offices now. I mean, going up and down the coast, couple, I think 700 agents easy. When I was there, I think there were about 700. I don't know where they're at now, but close. So, I mean, like for you now, you're with itty bitty EXP, right? No, it's cloud based.
Yeah.
Nobody's used to that.
It was rough.
Yeah.
People were like, "You did what?"
Right. Right.
And I got a lot of slack for it. People didn't, couldn't understand why I would take my own brokerage
Mhm.
and move to this little bitty company that a lot of people hadn't even heard of,
Right.
especially in Eastern North Carolina. And so,
Write that down.
convincing people of that was difficult because I was still learning myself.
Right. Yeah.
I knew my vision, but not everybody can see what I see, and or see what my sponsors saw. And it was hard for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had to be. I mean, because even now, as you and I were talking before we went live, some agents, they just aren't looking at it. What I always say logically,
Yeah.
they look at it more emotionally. I like this
Sure.
place, or I like this person over here, which, you're not losing the person. You just, you're going to a different company, the better for your family and stuff. But yeah, it's like some don't see it right away. And then, once I looked at it, I immediately saw it. Like soon as I took the time
Yeah.
though, just to
See,
sit,
I
right?
was the opposite.
Yeah.
It took me about 8 months to join.
Mm-hmm.
And for 8 months, I kept, I was contacted by a few people.
Right.
And I was really heavily weighing who I was going to choose as a sponsor. I
Right.
didn't really understand what that meant at that time. I didn't understand exactly what it meant, but I went with my heart and who I thought would be the biggest asset to my business and who would be there, to hold my hand when I needed stuff at my brokerage, because at this time, there wasn't a whole lot of EXP agents at that time.
No.
So I had 5 choices of sponsors, of people that had contacted me and had long conversations about EXP. And one person stuck out to me who was consistent, who was willing to hey, I will hold your hand. I will go to bat for you. And that was the person I chose because I felt like I needed someone.
Yep.
Because here I am on an island now all by myself in North Carolina.
Right.
And it was tough.
Yep. Yeah. And I think, when you joined and did it at that time, you're exactly right. I mean, I think you did exactly the right decision on trying to pick somebody that will help you. What? Because EXP itself, you got to learn it. It's the commission splits and the capping and all. When you're like me, I was used to just traditional. Like, here's your split, right? There it is. That's about all you got, right? And then there's not much to figure out there. At EXP, there's a lot of other different moving parts. That's great stuff, but you got to understand it, and sometimes even me, sometimes trying to explain to some agents, they're not seeing it. And it takes a bit, but I think what I just try to tell everybody is just sit down and look at it. That's all you got to do. Look at it and then weigh the options and do the numbers. And then, call an EXP agent, call somebody like you, Jammie, call somebody like me, whoever, right, that has been here for a bit, and just get our take on the questions you may have. You can't go back to your office and do it because they don't know it. They think they know, right? Like I think you and I had a little bit of maybe of a run-in with some other agents about some videos that were put out that was inaccurate. But I mean about EXP, and people just do not understand it. And
there's a lot of misconception. People hear things, and when you're in a small area like Jacksonville, North Carolina. You know, one little tiny bit of information can be twisted and turned, and then the next thing you know, everybody thinks it's one way, but it's in fact not. And so, you know, and I'm sure that's in a lot of areas. And so, yeah, I think there's always a lot of misconception on, you know, what EXP is, how it works, how our commission works, how stock works, how our revenue share works. And so combating that in the beginning was difficult. Now I just like, hey, you don't see it. You don't see it. You're not going to see it. There's nothing I can do. But back then, you know, I was crazy.
No, absolutely.
Maybe there's a little truth to that, you know, but you know,
no, I think
crazy enough to take that leap.
Yeah, you just saw it like early on, and again, but even when you saw it then, right, you still were taking a huge chance. I mean, that was a huge leap of faith, hoping, right, that it's going to get to where it is even today. I mean, we joined, and I think it was 24,000 agents, and that's 2 years ago. I mean, you know, and back then when you were there, I mean, it
goes quick. Time goes quick.
Way less than that. So, I mean, we're at over 71 now. You know, just the other day, I think I shared it yesterday. So,
it's the growth has been phenomenal. You know, and speaking on that, like one of the biggest things that I see is, you know, we're huge now, but the collaboration, you know, you and I had spoke about this a few times. And the collaboration in this company is unmatched. It's unlike anything that you will experience. It doesn't matter what company you're at. And just the network of people that you have access to in this company has been astounding.
No, absolutely. So, and that's where let's go into that. So, you know, you saw things in the beginning, and that's what I did too. Collaboration at the beginning for me, I didn't realize it, but I mean, I thought about it because I knew I can reach out. Like Jay Kinder was, and Al B. Stasek, and
you're amazing.
My sponsors. So I knew those. I was like, oh man, these guys are great. They're going to help me go from way fast. I didn't even think about all the other people, you know, and all the other agents I've talked. Veronica Figueroa, I've talked to Kyle Whistle. I've talked to a lot of agents that, I mean, they're opening up their playbook to you. So you saw the collaboration, right? You were, that was a big piece to you. So again, you saw something that majority do not. So, I mean, talk about that.
So collaboration is a huge piece, even in my business today. But when I was a broker owner, I had a lot of problems that I needed to solve in my business. And, you know, one of those things was I saw the opportunity to offer my agents more systems, technology, collaboration, all of the things that we as broker owners, you know, when you're all by yourself, like I was a broker, I was the owner. There wasn't a boss to go to. There wasn't a franchise or anything like that. So for me, it solved the issue of how can I do more for my agents? How can I give them more leads? How can I give them better systems? You know, and to be honest, it solved those problems for my agents, but financially it solved a lot more problems for me because it's expensive to run a brokerage. You know, I was paying out just about as much as I was bringing in. And some months it was tough. You know, I had to still sell the bulk of the houses, enabling myself to, you know, afford the bills of an office. And that was tough. You know, I was strong and I was going to do it. Either way, my bills were going to be paid because I was going to get out there. I was going to sell another house. I was going to crush it. But, you know, that wears you down after time. And so when EXP was brought to me, I did go, it sounds too good to be true. You know?
Oh, I did.
Because I was like, there's no way.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
I literally thought that way. And for a few months, I kept going back to this one person who was my sponsor. And I said, I'm missing something. He's like, no, you're really not. Like, you have all the information. You watched the video 1,000 times, Jammie. Like, you just need to pull the trigger. And I was like, don't rush me.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it took us 3
and he
months.
wasn't. It had been months, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, whoa, hold on. I don't
Yeah.
know this EXP, you know. I didn't
Yep.
know Glenn Sanford like I know him now, you
Mhm.
know, and I didn't know Rob Flick. I didn't know Brent Gove. I was like, you know, and I had
Yeah.
talked to Brent Gove, which
Yep.
he actually was the person. He put me in contact with Sheila Fageron, who is,
Mhm.
by the way, one of my all-time favorite people. She's
Yeah.
in my you know, my network
Yeah.
upline, and
Mhm.
amazing. And the very first time I spoke with her, because it's different, right? Because you know, I'm talking to my sponsor, Adam Bailey, and then I'm talking to Brent Gove, and that was
Mhm.
great. I mean, those guys are beasts, right, in this
Right.
space.
Yep.
But I'm a woman,
Mhm.
you know, and we think differently than men do. It's just true.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and when Brent got me on the phone with Sheila, it was
Yeah.
like I was talking to myself in the mirror, because my
Right.
business paralleled to hers very, very similarly. And
Mhm.
so when I met her and spoke to her after the first time, I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I need to do to sign up?
Yep.
You know, and for me, and that's one thing I want to iterate. So sometimes people don't see it right off.
No.
And
Right.
then you have to maybe introduce them to someone else in your network that, you know, like for me, it was, you
Mhm.
know, I talked to Adam and then I talked to Brent, and that was great. And I trusted them and I thought that they were giving me all I needed. Right. But then
Mhm.
for whatever reason, I was still like, I don't know.
Right.
And after I talked to Sheila, I was like, she is gold. You
Yep.
know, I mean, she's
Mhm.
like the most likable person on the planet.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, so it took me a long time. It was a very hard decision.
Yep.
It was a struggle, you know,
Yep.
and then getting systems and processes set up, losing half my agents onboarding. You know,
Mhm.
it was tough, but I would do it all again. And I would actually go back and do it earlier.
Right. Oh, you and I both. Oh, definitely. I'd be right next to you. Yeah. So I think, from going back into like what you're saying is the collaboration piece too
Mm,
is, what I always try to give the example for is what top producer right now in your office, right? Because you only get to choose that you don't get to choose your office, right?
that's
Most
right.
most places you're at, that's the brick and mortar. You've got one office.
Yeah.
Nicole
And, you
Bakery
know,
has got two. That's
I
it.
think too, like, people aren't used to the virtual world. Well, they're a little more now because of COVID.
Right.
But
Hmm.
you know, rewind 2.5 years ago, you know, people still thought like they need an office. They need their broker in charge to be at
Right.
the office all day, every day to hold their hand.
Hmm.
Um, they just needed that stability of having a brick and mortar.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they thought that's the
Yeah.
support. They think
I
that's
mean,
right. And
I got rid of when I joined, of course, you know, I had this massive office.
right.
I got rid of
Yep.
that thing just as well. Actually, I got rid of it because it flooded in the hurricane. But I wanted out of that office so bad that I
Yeah.
was like, what do I gotta do? Like, I don't even need all this space. Everything's virtual. Our company's
Yep.
virtual, you know, and I kept playing that. And as I grew my partnerships in EXP, I started scaling back on like a team because we have a
Right.
modern team, you know?
Right. And that's another good point. Like, being at EXP, you can have a team
Hmm.
in a different way than what we're used to, right? Team that are here every
Absolutely.
day. Like I still have a team that's here every day. I love my team. But
Oh, yeah.
each of them can have their own team. They can branch out and have other agents in different markets that are on their team, right? You're all a
Right.
team then, and you're partnered and the collaboration's there. And obviously when COVID hit, it's funny that EXP already had it ready, right? They've been cloud-based. This is what they did. They've
Yeah.
done it for years, right? So, but then everybody else, like, hey, we're not going to skip a beat. We can do everything virtually. We can do it. Yeah, now they're going to exactly what the EXP model was. Now, I
Yeah.
didn't even join then. We didn't join yet, but I sat there and that helped me think like EXP's already doing that. And they're
Yeah.
saying EXP's rubbish and you can't do that and blah, blah. But now look what they're doing. They're all now resorting towards the cloud based because they have to, right? Virtual. So,
Yeah.
but EXP's been doing it, so obviously it works. So that was one of the reasons why, one of the check marks I put, like EXP has been doing this before COVID. Now everybody has shifted to do it because they have to, and now it's okay. Oh, don't worry, we got you. Before
It's
EXP, that's
true.
why you don't want to use EXP, or that's why you don't want to go there. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no. So
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely different for me too because I grew up Century 21, then Coldwell Banker, then my own. We had
right.
a brick and mortar, 6,000 square foot office. That was I have to say, like, it was a change that I too had to embrace, and I think more and more people, as time goes on and COVID's still an issue, people are seeing that they can work from home a lot easier. And
Yeah.
then whenever you break it down and you look at, okay, franchise XYZ is charging me all these fees to be associated with their office,
Right.
but I'm still working at home. So
Yep.
I think as we move forward, EXP has grown tremendously. We're over 71,000 agents now. And so I think people are seeing it more and more. But I think, COVID just showed us what EXP already knew, is that we can work from home.
Yeah, exactly right. And going back, I totally agree there for sure. But and going back to collaboration, what I always try to tell agents and think about it, right? Especially the newer agents, none of their top producers are training them. They're not sitting with them saying, this is exactly how this will help you. This is what I did. And here's the systems and here's the scripts or there's no dialogue there. It's like, hey, call this person or call them or do that or whatever. That's about all they get. And they get there's no other collaboration to go to. That's all they have is whatever's in their office versus us. Our platform's the largest in the world. You can call someone in Orlando or wherever, if you see them doing
17 other countries that we have agents
in. Yeah. I mean, if you see them doing something, you're like, whoa, man, I want to incorporate that. How did they do that? You can call them. EXP agents are doing that every day, open up their playbook, not just like I answer a question and keep it vague, like you're my competition. It's here it is. Here's what I do. Here's a spreadsheet or here's this. I've had it. I mean, it's crazy.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I too was in that mindset of like, I was a top agent at both brokerages I was at. And so I was like, all my stuff is guarded. I'm here.
Right.
I wasn't used to just handing it away because that's not how I was trained.
Right.
And so when you stop and you think like, okay, how can I do it differently? EXP really lays that roadmap for us to say, all right, we do share with our agents, all of our agents are our partner agents, and so if one of us is learning more and we're sharing that, we're all learning and growing together. And that's what makes the collaboration here so great is that, you and I, even in North Carolina, direct competitors, I would still share everything that I absolutely knew because that is how EXP trains us and expects us to be. They expect us to collaborate even with agents that we may not be partners with in our up or our down lines, right? So I have several agents that are in different states that will call me.
Right.
I'm happy to. There's people here in the DMV area that call me, for all kinds of different things. And the great thing about that is that EXP being one company because we're all one company.
We all flow.
Versus all these other franchises where each office is individually owned.
Right.
EXP is one brokerage, so we all work under the same umbrella.
Yep.
And so it makes it easy to share information rather than hoard it like we're used to, right? We're used to that. Because we're like, I'm the top agent. I don't want anybody to beat me. That's the mindset that we get in. And so having the ability to just share, it's been really good for my psyche even.
Yes. Yeah. And the mastermind groups that we have, if I've never seen it. I cannot believe the things I see. We have agents, Jammie, right? We have agents throwing massive events. These are EXP agents. Brett Gove gets Tony Robbins. I mean, this isn't like EXP now. This is not or a company. This is an agent that has thrown events with Tony Robbins. I mean, we've got all kinds of speakers that have come and that agents are going there. And it's for all agents. It's not just for EXP. You bring everybody there, right? So, I mean, ultimately, that's what I see here is EXP agents are throwing events for other agents, including, of course, EXP. But I've never seen that in any other company. You know, the company throws a convention, right?
Yeah.
And so does EXP, right? Well, we get two actually. We get the shareholder because we're all shareholders,
Yeah,
and then you
that's right.
get the EXP, EXP Con. So
Yeah, I think
that's
it's great. I've spoken at events, I've went to events, and just to be able to collaborate on that level is just a whole nother area of the ball game that other brokerages aren't playing.
Yep.
And so when you compare being able to grow your business, in the eyes of others, because we have roadmaps. We have thousands of roadmaps, through the agents that we're partners with in this company, and we get to utilize those.
Absolutely. It's like no other. The biggest platform. You can reach out to any agent at EXP, and they'd be more than happy to help you. And again, I think from the perspective of when you pick your sponsor and your partner together too. What I always love is EXP is gonna, right. We're gonna talk about the rev share a little bit.
Yeah.
EXP is gonna pay you as an agent, something to help the other agents. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because as you and I both know, the only way we ever was able to get compensated for our time, money, or anything we did was you have to have a team, right? And your team's then got to be productive because if you have team members that don't sell anything, you still are training them and you're still buying leads and paying for this. So EXP now provides a different platform, right? Where it allows agents to bring their friends over and them agents do well. Everybody does well. Everybody does well, which is great versus a franchise, right? Because the franchise owner is the one doing well. So you got all the agents selling, feeding one franchise person and their retirement, right?
Absolutely.
And the agents get nothing unless they save and do smart things, but most agents don't.
That's the thing, a lot of people, when they look at different brokerages, and I have top 10 questions to ask if anybody needs that. But when people are interviewing brokerages, and I did this, right? As a new agent, like when I interviewed, I didn't know what the hell a franchise was. I didn't even probably for my first 50 transactions, I didn't even know how to calculate my commission.
Right.
I just knew I was selling houses, a shit ton of them, and I was getting paid. And that was much better than being unemployed. So, but once I started learning, like, these companies are, how much they're charging in franchise fees and other hidden fees too, it was astounding to me that any agent that's at a franchise, it doesn't matter what franchise it is, can come to EXP and get a raise. Just by eliminating that franchise fee. Now, there's other fees with brokerages, then, it depends on that particular brokerage. But gosh, people just sometimes don't even know what they're giving away to the owner of that specific office.
Listen, I've talked to my team about this and really have honed in on teaching them those things you mentioned, the business, commission, the franchise. Like some of them are like, we never knew this. Like we've never seen this. I didn't know how this calculated. I didn't even know that was how the money funneled. Like they just don't know that. And like you said, when you're selling and you're in a groove, you're like, who cares, right?
Yeah, I was too busy to worry about what, if I was missing $1 on my commission statement,
Right.
But agents aren't educated when it comes to how to calculate commission, how to calculate the franchise fees, and what you're actually paying out of that check. And once they do learn that, which, by the way, EXP this week alone had 5 classes on how to run your own business, how to start a business, about taxes, about accounting. And so that's one of the things that I love about EXP is that they teach you how to run your own business, because that's what we're doing as independent contractors with a real estate firm, right? Is we're running our own businesses. The great thing about EXP is we are partners in this business because we're shareholders. And so it changes everything when you know how to look at those numbers.
Right. Absolutely. And you should, and I think that's the problem is most agents are not looking at that. And they think, well, I'm doing fine over here. I'm happy. They're happy because they know no different. Right. But if they just took a minute,
they don't know what they don't know, right? It's kind of like, when you're writing a contract, there's lots of trouble you can get in if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Same thing with your money. If you don't know what you don't know, you're losing out on money.
Yeah. So, and
It
that's
could
what I
cost you
always
big
say.
time, by the way.
What's that?
I said it could cost you big time.
Oh, and it does. Like for me, we looked at our team numbers and things. Everything was great at other firms. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes down to the leads and money and all that,
Yeah.
we paid out a lot of money. And like I always say, is if I'm going to
Look,
pay
I bought a couple people cars.
oh
Okay,
yeah, I mean, if I'm going to pay 6% on a franchise
without
fee,
even knowing it.
exactly right. Why not pay 5%
I'm pretty sure
every closing and get
I
stock?
bought somebody a Land Rover.
Probably, yeah, right. I mean, probably right. We did, and I think the newer agent right now who's going to watch us, right? They're like, well, so what? I'm at wherever,
Yeah.
but as they get going, they've got to really hone in on what their fees are, and then what are they getting for those fees? Half of them when I was doing the recruiter stuff for the one company, I talked to so many top agents, and none of them used any of the franchise fees or the franchise stuff. None of them. They used none of the stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. As you grow and when you start a team of your own or you have a big business, I too.
Yeah.
Well, at first I learned a few lessons. You never own your information when you're at a franchise. That franchise does. And the second that you leave that franchise, you can lose that. That happened to me. And so when I learned that lesson, going into, the next brokerage into Caldwell Banker, I didn't want to use their systems because I had lost all of my client contact. Thankfully I had backups, but I lost all that information. And so people like me, there's lots of people out there that are paying for their own systems so that they own the information.
Yes.
The great thing about EXP is, unlike any other brokerage that I've been affiliated with, when you decide to exit, which I don't ever plan to do that, but that information is yours and you have the right and the ability to download it.
Yep.
I didn't have that right before, and I lost all my information. And that was a tough lesson to learn. So people don't own their information in the systems and the processes that these brokerages are supplying.
Right.
So a lot of agents, teams, and big producers are paying out of their own pocket for these systems.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's what I would say too is, because I've heard this before, you've got to have, you got to start up when you go to EXP, maybe get signs and stuff. But what they don't realize is, but you're going to save. I mean, if we just talk about a top producer, right, they're going to save $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 without paying a franchise fee on some producers, right? Really selling a bunch, right? So signs are a minimum cost, it's really a one-time cost, right? Unless you just obviously continue to get crazy and grow, which is a good thing. Signs won't matter then. I mean, that's chump change, right? So the things
you can buy signs with a franchise fee that you're saving.
Right. That's exactly right. I mean, exactly right. And then you just got to break down those numbers. And I think people just are not doing it. They see something, or as you and I know, right, they get held hostage because there's some agents still hostage because their builder is somewhere. And the builder's like, we are not moving. We know that. Or, they're scared to leave because like you did, right? They lost they're going to lose their contacts, or they,
there's another level to that too. I think, some people are, like you mentioned, afraid to leave their brokerage because, in certain areas there are horror stories. And I know you and I both have experienced this personally in leaving brokerage, different brokerages, by the way. And maybe the same, who knows? But when you leave a brokerage, there's always fine print. When you leave, there's either a penalty or your commission gets cut by a certain amount. And so people get afraid to leave a brokerage. My suggestion to them is to always, talk to your board attorney and see what your rights are and look at that independent contractor with a fine-tooth comb.
Yep. No, absolutely. And it's sad because I talk to agents a lot, and a lot of them say, look, if I leave, I know I'm going to lose this or lose that, and I got, obviously I've been in the business a while now, so I come up with some great creative ways that, it's going to help supplement, do something. But Some would just not leave because they're fearful of anything, mostly, which is crazy. But yeah, so let's talk about some other things real quick before we end it. We'll talk a couple more minutes, but what else do you think, from an attractive standpoint for you, what else attracted you to EXP? And what do you think is some main points that agents should look at when looking at EXP?
Well, I think as, like I said, for me, EXP solved a lot of problems in my business, meaning I felt like, there was a glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't go much further without investing a shit ton more money.
Right.
And so, for me, it was, okay, how do I get production to grow so that I can afford to do the things to help my agents grow? So those issues were solved with the systems and processes. The collaboration is a huge thing. The mentorship is a massive thing. The amount of training that we have is like anything I've ever seen. We have over 100 classes per week that agents can take, the opportunity to attend to grow their business. And it's not like, traditional brokerage where it's like, oh, hey, you need to go to this class because I said so, I'm the broker. It's more so like, hey, here's 100 classes, go to the ones that fit your business.
Right.
And so EXP really is a one size fits all. You just have to figure out what fits your business, right? So the training is phenomenal. The collaboration, the events. I mean, I always knew that I was bigger than what I was doing in Jacksonville, North Carolina, meaning where I was at my own brokerage. And so once I came to EXP, it was almost like a aha, right? Like, oh, damn. I can collaborate across all 50 states. And we're in 18 countries. 17 outside of the US. But being able to collaborate even internationally has been crazy to me because, that's something that, we can pride ourselves on is that, hey, I'm talking to a guy in India, and being able to collaborate on that type of level is nothing like I've seen. And so, I think there's a lot of, everybody wants to help everybody. And being in that kind of an environment, really, I thrive in that because I'm a giver. Even when I was, on the board of realtors as the education chair, like, I always wanted to give back educationally. And so now I have the opportunity, just like everybody else in EXP, to teach those classes to agents in our world or our brokerage, in our cloud brokerage, right? And so to be able to do it in that manner is, I could have never reached those amount of agents, prior.
Yep. What about the agents who are out there saying that EXP is not known enough yet? And I think it's going to hurt my business.
Well, I think that people, I hear it all the time. Like me, because I was one of those. I was like, EX what? And I kept saying Expo. I was like, I kept saying Expo. And they were like, EXP, Jamie. But it wasn't until I was probably 2 years in that I was like, holy shit, like I have this massive opportunity. And it's up to people to see it, right? But the truth is they don't.
Right.
And I think for me, like when somebody's watching, because I edify Bringo all the time. I'm like, watch the EXP explain. But when you watch it 2, 3, and 4 times, because the more you watch it, the more you see.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh.
Right.
It was like a light bulb. It's like, oh.
Right.
Man, I'm behind. I should have done this sooner.
Right. Yeah. Do you think it hurts agents? Do you think it would hurt an agent's business coming to EXP? Like based on EXP, right? The signs or, because I've heard that. It's like, hey, of course they're listening to the big brands, right? Hey, we bring listings to you because of the brand and all that. I'm like, I have never got a listing from the brand. I honestly think one of my listings. Everyone.
I honestly think that brokerages are scared.
Yeah.
They're in a scarcity mindset. And now I'm not talking shit about other brokerages. I'm just saying, like, they are trained to say EXP is the bad guy, because we're offering something that nobody else does. We have more millionaires in our company than any other company on the planet. And so when you think about, I want to be the next millionaire.
Right.
And I will. But, I think brokerages get scared because they can't, most of the brick and mortars, they're not going to close their doors. And if they're not going to close their doors, they have that overhead.
Right.
And if they have that overhead, guess who's paying for it? The agents.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And so I think that they don't want EXP to be a big deal.
Yep.
Because it puts them behind what we're doing.
Absolutely. Right. It's definitely a threat. And as we always say, the disruptor, right? You're a disruptor. And that's why I love the analogy or the examples of the, Blockbusters, the Netflix, right? And, what Uber and taxis and Uber and then hotels and Airbnbs. And then you have traditional brokerages, EXP. It's the same. It's evolved. It's going to keep evolving. And I think, agents just they have to do themselves service and diligence, or just sit and watch or sit and talk to one of us two. It could be anybody. It doesn't matter. EXP, just call somebody, talk to them, ask your questions. And I promise you, if you do the numbers and look at it logically and business wise, it's going to be a better fit for you. It just will.
Yeah, I think if somebody's looking at it financially, I think hands down, we can beat just about any brokerage there. And there may be some brokerages I don't know about. But from my experience and my research, I know that we're the best paying brokerage financially. Now, if an agent isn't worried about finances and they need an office with a bunch of agents and a broker that they can walk in the door to, then EXP may not be for them.
Right.
And so I think it's, EXP is not for everybody. It is for the people who want to run their own business, who want to make more money, and who can hold themselves accountable as far as, diving in and learning the systems and our playbooks so that you can have the best success out of your business. And so I didn't learn that early on. And so, I onboarded agents that I'm offboarded in a month or two because I was still learning and not really diving into the systems and stuff that could help them.
Right.
A lot of times people get like, oh, it's financially this, you're going to make rev share. Rev share is great. It's changed my life. It has done amazing things for me, but people need to see the problem that it solves in order for EXP to make sense for them. Right. So it's not a fit for everybody. And it's not a fit for everybody because those agents don't see something that you and I see.
Yep. So let me hit on rev share real quick on the point you brought up. This was a great point. You didn't even probably mean to make it in this way, but this is what I want to share with the other agents, right? Like if you're going to start a team, like me and Jammie have started, had teams. I still have my team, but at other firms,
I have a modern team.
Yeah, a modern team, right? Old school team. They will. That's what I call it, old school team. But they will. Other companies will allow you to do that, right? And then what the team leader does is put all their effort and time and money. They should be training their agents, right? Training those agents to become producers, and because otherwise, the team's not profitable. But that's what you want, right? And those firms allow that because they know internally if I'm on Jammie's team and Jammie trains me and now I'm selling 40 houses a year and I say, hey, Jammie, thank you so much. Love you. But I got it now. I'm out of here. The firm knows more than likely that agent is going to stay with the firm. So that firm has now inherited a top producing agent that Jammie Garlock has done all the legwork on and time and effort and money. And guess what Jammie gets after that? Zero. We get big zero, right? And that's happened to me over and over again where I put all this time and effort and they leave, they stay at this firm, and those firms are making all the money off that agent based on the team leaders. Some of the team leaders, just got to do the work, but ultimately together now that firm is making all the money. And again, their agents don't see this. Another piece that you brought up I want to really hit on was you saw the bigger picture to help your people that were with you.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I did. When I first saw it and I started thinking, I'm like,
Yeah.
everybody wins here. Even my team. I can give more commission split. I can buy more leads. I can do more because
that's a good point, because I will tell you, it took me a while to see it. And when I saw it, not everybody on my team saw it. And so, you know, through that transition, as I mentioned earlier, we did lose some agents, but we lost the right agents.
Yeah.
Because they didn't see the vision that I saw.
Right.
And it's funny because even now, some of the agents that, you know, were on, you know, my team at JG Homes Inc., that left because they didn't see the vision are now back and they see it. And so, you know, I saw something and I wanted to help those agents. And, you know, I'm a tough love type person. If they didn't see it, they didn't see it.
Right.
And it's much different now, 4 years in, because, you know, EXP solves the problems for a lot of people. And now I'm able to identify what those issues might be, so that I can help them figure out if it's a good fit. Because what's good for me doesn't mean it's good for you.
Good for everybody. Right. And I would say this to every team leader that's out there, if you're watching, right, and you're listening, you've got to look at it from your team perspective. Everybody says they care about their teams, but if you really care about them, you got to look at the EXP model, because look, you can, you know, EXP is going to provide things you can't. You're never going to be able to provide stock in your team, right?
It gives the agents the ability to have an income outside of their sales business.
Exactly, right? Stock options and the rev share opportunities. They got healthcare with it. I mean, the trainings there that, you know, we can give training too, but having some other top EXP agents and icon agents training, I mean, it's a different aspect. It's a different way of teaching, and it will help everybody. So if you're a team leader, you got to look at it, because you can give more to your agents.
And to caveat that too, David, the one thing that it solved for me, like you, is that, you know, when you can have a traditional team at EXP. There are a ton of them. And I did that at first. I just put everybody on my team, right? That was on my brokerage. But the problem that I was having is that when an agent left my team, they left my brokerage.
Right.
And then they're gone. And all that work is like, okay, bye-bye. It's taken down the street. And that's fine.
Right.
If you're in the business of losing agents and losing money. But if you're looking at it from an aspect like you and I see and saw in the beginning, is that when an agent, let's say you have a traditional team, because you can have that here, you can have a traditional team, and when someone comes off of your team, you can help them grow into an independent agent at EXP, and you're not losing anything.
Right.
They're not losing anything. They are not having to make a change in their business to go to another brokerage. EXP, you know, you can just be an independent. And then as a leader, you can still coach them, help them train, help them generate leads, or whatever their, you know, pain point is. And you still have that connection with those agents. So it's not like it is when you leave a brokerage.
Right. Absolutely.
When an agent left JG Homes, guess what? They were gone.
Yeah. And
versus now, you know, we do have some teams in my network, and when someone comes off of the team, it's seamless. And not that, you know, that happens all the time, but when it does happen, it's still beneficial for that team leader to nurture that relationship with that agent that came off of the team.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely.
So totally it's completely different. It's not like, hey, F you left my team. You know, it's more so of, okay, I understand you're in a growth mode. Let's help you grow. And the benefit for us as leaders is that they're still in our network. And if anybody's done the research on EXP, you know, we get paid revenue share based on the sales of the people that are in our downline. And so, you know, to keep that going, you want to nurture those relationships.
Right. No, absolutely. Again, it's a whole different world, and people just got to really give it a chance and just look at it. And that's what I tell everybody. Just sit down, just look at it. That's all you're doing. I'm not going to bother you. Just do it.
Especially big teams. Like, franchises are raping them financially.
Yeah.
It's true.
I agree.
If anybody wants to challenge me, they can call me.
What do you, so let me ask you a question with that. So real quick, and then we'll end it because we're almost on an hour, which is great stuff. We can, me and
I know, we can talk all
we're
day.
going to do this again because we got a lot of conversations that I think you and I want to talk about that would be really good. But that point you made, why do you think there are agents? Because I picked my brain, which isn't much there, but I try to figure it out. Like, why do these?
It's all that hair you got.
Yeah. Why do these teams stay at these brokerages? What do you think? Like, honestly, or maybe you know.
I think a lot of things. I think fear, fear of that maybe their mindset is that they couldn't do it somewhere else, or they wouldn't have the production, or that the company some people do have the limiting belief that the company that they're at is making them the agent that they are,
right?
Production wise, I thought that at the beginning too. You know, I thought, hey, I'm at Century 21. I was always number 2 because his husband was number 1. But
still,
I always had it in my mind, like, I don't know if I can do the same things out on my own. I don't know. I was scared, and I think people get in that mindset and they're at a brokerage for so long, they feel loyal. Well, I guarantee you that companies are loyal because the money is coming in. That's how it works. That is how it works.
When you leave,
they're not different. They can say different, but people are they have fear. Maybe they can't do it somewhere else, or maybe they think they can do it somewhere else, and they're secretly just so involved. Because I too was like, I was 1,000% into my brokerage.
Right.
At every brokerage I was at. And so I never considered change when I was, at Sawyer. I loved that place. Like, it was in my blood, I thought, until I had to make a change. I'd never been fired in my life, by the way, until I got fired from that brokerage. But anyway, it was in my blood that I was going to be there forever, because I thought this brokerage made me the agent I am. Right. But the fact is I made me the agent I was. You made you the agent you are. Everybody out there that's questioning that should take a great big look in the mirror, because you're only rewarded on the work that you actually do.
That's right.
So, just like other agents we know that have gotten their license and like, oh, I'm not doing what you're doing in 5 minutes. It's because you haven't put the work in. And so when you look in the mirror and you see like, hey, I'm at this brokerage. It's great. Look, I loved Century 21 Sawyer. I loved Caldwell Banker. I still every so often talk to Tim Milam because he's a fantastic owner.
Absolutely.
Like one of the very best people that I know. But he's in it for the money.
Yeah.
We are. I'm in it for the money. I'm at this brokerage because I make more money than I even did on my own.
Right.
Which is massive.
Right, because the goal of every agent should be to sell as much to make you happy financially, but not always have to always sell more. You should be looking to go somewhere where you can sell less, make the same, because it helps your life. Anyways, gives you your time back and stuff.
I sell a third of the houses that I sold as an independent agent personally. Because I make more money doing it that way. Yeah. And I'm able to enhance the lives of the agents that are partners with me. And I make more doing that than I ever did in commissions. Now, revenue share is not for everybody. It is not. And we are, some people are like, oh, you guys are recruiters. Like, I'm not a recruiter. Like if I'm a recruiter, I suck at my job. Okay. But I have been able to change my life and my family's life, and be able to do that in addition to selling when I want to, instead of out of necessity. And so a lot of things can change for people if they just open up their mind, look at the opportunity, and just really take it in and apply it to their particular business. For me, it was financial, and this company saved my life.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it was definitely the right move for us. And my team, loves it. I mean, they love
Yeah.
EXP. They love everything it has to offer that I could not offer them. You know, I can offer them mentorship and all kinds of things, which is going to help them. But ultimately, you know, in the long run, like you and I, we'd be doing it a bit, and we want to see a light at the end of the tunnel. If you're going to do this and make this a career, you know, are you going to sell 100 houses for the next 40 years? I mean, that's a lot of house. I mean, it's like a hamster wheel. So it just gets tiring. It gets, you know, so why not look at different options? And EXP is that only option. It's the only option out there that gives you.
It's like a retirement plan, to be honest.
Yep.
I tell a story all the time when I'm talking to people. You know, when I say, oh, EXP changed my life, it financially changed my life. And because I was financially able to do better, I have better relationship with my kids. I have better relationship with my husband. I have better relationship with friends because I actually have time to spend with them now. Versus, you know, rat race I was running, I never had time to do anything. So financially it changed my life, but in so many more ways than that, you know? And I think if people can get in the growth mindset of like, okay, how could this apply to my business and what could I do with it? You know, stock options alone, you know, when I got here, I think we're right at $6 a share. So a little under $6 a share. And I can literally take what I have in my stock account and build our retirement home. That is life-changing to me. So when my husband retires in a year and a half, might be a year and 10 months, but anyway, I'm pushing it forward.
Right.
When we retire, we're able to take that money and build a home and not have, you know, a mortgage payment. And so for us, that was huge. I was able to get it completely debt free. And I made some videos on my Facebook a while back of that, on how I utilize my rev share to get debt free. And if anybody needs advice on that, I'm happy to help, because that's what I use my rev share for.
Right. No, absolutely. It's just, there's so much to discuss on that stuff. And just, I
we
think
do a whole video on rev share.
Oh, we could. Yeah.
It's life changing. Like,
just one agent's understanding.
I don't understand why.
I don't know. And the funny thing is, some agents so brainwashed, they don't understand that their firm, the firms are not in a sales business, right? They're in a recruiting business. You know, because if they don't have Jammie, they don't have Dave or our teams, or they don't sell anything because they're not selling anything. They got agents that are selling, right? So why not you go to an organization or a firm like ours, right? A company like EXP, where if you do bring your friends over, the company's going to pay you. Why? That's okay, because the other companies you're with are not going to pay you.
I'm dumbfounded why people think revenue share is a bad thing.
I don't get it.
You know, because you hear
I laugh at it. Oh, you guys are recruiters. Okay, we're not. But every
firm or recruit, everybody's a recruiter. If you tell your friend, "Hey, I love my brokerage," guess what? You're a recruiter.
Right. That's it. It's the same.
Listen, revenue share has changed so many people's lives that I know personally, because it's changed mine and people that I have partnerships with. And so when you can think about the things that EXP offers, i.e. revenue share, and if people are going to be like, oh, it's a bad thing, well, maybe EXP is not for them because they don't like money. I personally like money, so I love revenue share. And I wish people could understand that a little more. How it actually works. Because, you know, most of the time they're like, oh, you're just recruiting. Well, no.
And it's
building my network of agents because I see the value in that. Not just for me. I mean, there's people that joined me in 2018 that are still here to this day that probably make more revenue share than I do. Right. But if people don't see that, man, that's a limiting belief. And I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, I do, because they're missing out. And I think
it's great. Like,
they've got to look at it as, you know, even if you do nothing with rev share, you just come over and all you're doing is saying, hey, look, EXP is great. You know, if you got buddies at a different place, it's the same thing you do in any company. You know, hey, how's it over there at 123 Realty? Oh, it's great. I love it here. Right. People do that
everybody
day.
Does that. I mean, everybody I did it. Hell, I might as well have been you know, bringing people into every brokerage I was at, because I told people how much I loved it.
It's the same.
And I do the same with EXP.
Right.
Yeah, it's just the reward's greater.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, we have a retirement plan. If you look at it in those eyes, you know, you could utilize that for your retirement. And I always tell people, like, think about what are you going to do with your pending clients or clients that are looking for houses if you're hospitalized? What if you know, are in the hospital for weeks on end? Like, what are you going to do with the commission that you're missing?
Yep. Yeah. Only way to make money is a
supplemental in the beginning. In the beginning, it was like, oh, cool. My first check was $200. You know, that was great. I thought, oh, hey, that's $200 I didn't have. But now when it starts to grow and you're in the thousands of dollars per month, things change a little bit for you, and you can make some, you know, different decisions in your business that you maybe weren't able to make when you were so stressed about the commission. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, look, we're going to wrap up. We've been doing an hour and 10 minutes. I think this is the longest one, but it's good. It's all great stuff. And we need to get together. Maybe we get, can't pronounce his name. I always say it wrong. Chaston.
Like Chaston.
See, I have a client name. Well, it is Chase. Is it Chase or? Oh man.
I used to say the wrong name in the beginning too. It's fine.
Yeah, so maybe we need to come together and have like a big mastermind on things on one of these. And, get a few of us. That'll be good. But no, look, I want to say thank you for taking. I mean, we've been doing an hour and we could talk. I mean, this is great stuff. And I think hopefully people are going to listen to this. We had a lot of people tune into this. I've been watching the ticker go, you know, we had 6-7 people watching at a given time. And so I'm sure people are getting some good stuff from it, hopefully. But so thank you for taking the time out and your Friday. I know you're busy, and look, have a great weekend. We'll be in touch. And let me know if you ever need anything, obviously.
Will do. Thanks, David.
All right. Thank you, James. Bye.